All right, let's dive right into this explainer. If you're parenting a teenager, you probably know the morning struggle all too well. Today, we're focusing on how to transform that chaotic school morning from a daily battlefield into a calm, predictable system. We're going to break down the actual science of teenage sleep and give you a super practical, structured approach to getting your teen out of bed. And we're talking about doing this without the yelling, the frustration, and the slammed doors. Picture this, the all-too-familiar 6:35 a.m. scene. You open the bedroom door, you offer a gentle first prompt, time to get up, and it goes completely ignored. 5 minutes later, you're back. You flip on the light. Instantly, the blanket gets yanked right over their head. By the fourth attempt, the tension has totally peaked. Everyone's shouting, feelings are hurt, and the whole family is running late. Now, it looks and feels like a massive attitude problem, right? Like deliberate disrespect right at the crack of dawn. But as you'll see, science tells us a slightly different story. Now, what's really fascinating here is that this intense grogginess, it's not intentional defiance. It's actually a very real physiological state called sleep inertia. When a brain is passing through a biologically unfavorable wake time, especially if they're waking from a super deep stage of sleep or just haven't slept enough, it experiences a temporary period of reduced alertness, way slower reaction times, and even outright confusion. They might snap at you or silence an alarm without even remembering they did it. So while this absolutely doesn't excuse insults or missed responsibilities, understanding sleep inertia helps us realize we need to reduce these physical barriers instead of just, shouting louder. And here is the exhausting trap we fall into as parents, creating a chain of escalating alarms. We start by calling from the hallway, then we turn on the lights, yank the blankets off, and eventually we're shouting or threatening punishments. But what does this actually teach the teenager? It teaches them that the first 3 gentle signals literally do not matter. They know you'll be back. This basically forces the parent to become the ultimate human alarm clock and carry the entire emotional weight of the morning. Instead, we need to shift to neutral prompts, relying on one agreed-upon sequence and firm language, so you don't have to invent a whole new level of pressure every single day.
So that brings us to Section 1, fixing the night before to prevent morning fights. The absolutely crucial point to remember here is that a louder morning alarm can never, ever solve a chronic lack of sleep. If your teen is exhausted, the fight actually starts the night before. Let's look at the common culprits, what we call sleep thieves. We're talking unrealistic late bedtimes, smartphones buzzing all night right there in the bedroom, late-night caffeine or gaming, or drastically later sleep schedules on the weekends that just completely reset their internal clock. If your teenager is battling these, no wake-up tactic in the world will magically fix the morning. The absolute strongest morning intervention might actually be establishing an earlier digital landing time where phones are put away for good, or just creating a much more realistic evening routine. All right, let's move to Section 2, the 7-part Calm Wake-Up Plan. This entire system is designed from the ground up to de-escalate emotion, reduce environmental barriers, and set really clear expectations. Step 1 is to calculate backward from the time they need to wake up. This ensures you're actually protecting enough sleep opportunity, because honestly, you cannot compensate for consistently inadequate sleep. Step 2, agree on the exact wake-up protocol during the day. Sit down together, decide which alarm to use, where it goes, and what the consequences are if they refuse the routine. And here is the golden rule. Never ever negotiate these rules while everyone is half asleep. Step 3 tackles the actual waking moment. Place an audible, but not household-frightening, alarm across the room. The teenager absolutely must have to physically sit up, or better yet, stand up, to silence it. Because if they can just smack the snooze button while staying horizontal and half unconscious, sleep inertia is going to win that battle every single time. Fourth, quickly introduce morning light. Opening the curtains or moving out into a brightly lit common area sends a critical biological signal to the brain that nighttime is officially over. While it might feel a bit intrusive to a sleepy teen, explain the purpose to them in advance. This light helps cue their internal clock and heavily supports alertness. And hey, just stick to ordinary daylight or room lights. You definitely don't need to shine an intense spotlight directly in their eyes. Fifth, implement a short activation sequence. The goal here is simple. Predictable physical movement to transition them from wakefulness to actually functioning. It basically goes like this. Stand up, walk to the bathroom, wash your face, drink water, get dressed. Notice how simple this is? This is absolutely not the time to start a complicated conversation about slipping math grades, respect, or, life goals. Keep it purely physical and routine.
And during this sequence, model exactly this type of firm, neutral language. Say things like, the alarm is across the room, so your body has to move. Or, curtains are open, bathroom is next. Short instructions drastically reduce the cognitive demand for a groggy teen whose brain is literally still booting up. It also leaves way less room for a shouting match or an argument. You are just stating the facts.
Now, if the initial activation sequence fails, we move to steps 6 and 7. Limit yourself to one agreed-upon backup prompt. After that, step back. Allow the pre-planned proportionate consequences to happen if they miss the responsibilities. Don't constantly rescue them. And step 7, always review the system later in the evening or after school. Ask questions like, hey, was the alarm placement not working? Discuss the whole shebang when both of you are fully awake, never during the heat of the morning conflict. All of this leads us right into Section 3, building teen independence and ownership. The ultimate long-term goal of this explainer isn't to make you a more highly skilled human alarm clock. It's to build a teenager who actually manages their own sleep and waking with increasing independence. Autonomy should operate inside real responsibilities, so give them choices on the alarm sound or what they eat for breakfast for sure, but definitely not on whether they actually go to school. Now, you might be wondering, what if my teen sets, say, 5 or 10 alarms on their phone just to feel safer about waking up? Does that actually work? Surprisingly, no way. Setting multiple alarms is actually highly counterproductive. It teaches the brain that the first alarm is totally meaningless. Plus, repeated snoozing breaks up their final, crucial period of sleep into short, unrefreshing fragments. Instead, stick to the plan. Use one primary alarm placed away from the bed and one limited backup signal. To really shift that ownership over to your teen, try this 14-day experiment. Neutrally record data, things like their planned bedtime, where their phone was, how many parental prompts it took, and weekend wake times. And remember, don't use this data to shame them. Use it to find biological patterns together. Like, do the absolute worst mornings always follow the shortest nights? After a week, change one variable, like the alarm location, and review the progress on day 14. If mornings repeatedly fail, bypass the public humiliation, physical force, or yelling. Instead, implement predictable, proportionate consequences that connect their difficult mornings directly to their evening choices. If they just can't wake up, maybe they need an earlier digital landing time that evening. Maybe they need to be the one to email their teacher about a late arrival. Or perhaps they just need to prep their clothes the night before. Simply connect the responsibility to the action. Finally, we must address Section 4, when to seek help and healthcare guidance. While we absolutely must balance empathy for their growing bodies with responsibility, we also need to recognize that sometimes behavior isn't just behavioral. This system cannot diagnose underlying medical issues. If your teen consistently gets adequate sleep opportunity but still shows warning signs, like falling asleep unintentionally during the day, loud snoring or breathing pauses, frequent morning headaches, or major mood changes, it is time to seek appropriately qualified healthcare guidance. Persistent excessive sleepiness can have many hidden causes, like sleep apnea or depression, and those require a professional, not just a new alarm clock location. I'll leave you with this final empowering thought to guide your family's new morning system. The goal is not a perfectly cheerful teenager at 6:35 in the morning. It is a predictable transition from sleep to responsibility. So ask yourself, are you striving for forced morning cheerfulness, which usually just leads to more conflict, or are you building a calm pathway to lasting independence? Fix the night, move the alarm, bring in the light, and step back. What's the very first change you're going to make tonight?